Welcome to today's Global Connections program. I'm Bill Miller. Today we're going to take a look at transformational learning concepts to see some of the newest developments in the broad field of education. My guest is an expert in this area. Dr. Linda Quinn is a dancer, actress, and dean at Tarrant County College Northeast campus who enjoys the process of fusing different art forms to express human experience as well as developing transformational learning concepts. Dr. Linda Quinn, welcome to today's Global Connections program.
Hello, Bill. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you. Appreciate you being with me.
Delighted to be here.
Thank you. We're going to get into transformational learning in just a moment, but let's talk a little bit about Tarrant County College. And well, first off, what is your role as a dean in that particular institution? Let's do that first.
Well, I'm delighted to say that I've been employed with Tarrant County College for almost 24 years now. I started out as an adjunct instructor and then was hired as a full-time instructor, became the first professor of dance in the history of Tarrant County College, have been a department chair on 2 different campuses. Tarrant County College is a very large community college with 6 different campuses, including 1 fully online campus. So I was a department chair on 2 campuses, and now on the Northeast campus, I'm happy to be dean over communication, arts, and entertainment, otherwise known as the Division of Humanities.
Mm-hmm. Now we're talking about one particular institution, but what we're talking about today will apply to institutions around the United States and around the world. It's not specifically endemic to yours, but let's flash back a few years. You were involved with the conference for the communities of the future, as I recall. And
yes.
That was with Rick Smyer, who
yes.
I believe was the coordinator of that. What exactly was that activity, and how did you want to get involved with it, especially in the area of transformational learning concepts?
Well, really, collaboration is my middle name. That's one of the things in 30-something years of education that has served me the best along the way. So I was very, very interested and appreciative of the wonderful ideas that Rick Smyer shared with me. And we had some really good conversations, and he gave me a great assignment to think of a way that I could cause people in my areas that I supervise to connect disparate ideas, to work in different ways, to find new ecosystems, to find new ways to work in a cross-disciplinary way. He challenged me with that, and I thought about it about a day. And you know how these good ideas hit you about 2 o'clock in the morning.
Of course.
Yes, always that way. From my early education as an educator, I was always interested in how people connected, how we came up with new ideas, the ideas of webs, the ideas of circles. And so I came up with the idea of this wheel of creativity that would be a template that could be used by not just someone in the arts, anyone at a community college, anyone at a university, anywhere in the world, anyone in a business community, used in an entrepreneurship capacity for anyone with a new startup or working in an incubator type situation. It's just a template that I'm happy to share with others that has helped me along the way to open some conversations that cause some really great, desperate ideas to be connected that people perhaps didn't think about before. And it was this homework assignment. I shared my thoughts with Rick, determining, it was really determined by a project. As a newer dean at the time, I really wanted all of the different disciplines, 13 different disciplines in the division where I was dean, to find ways to work together, because to me, collaboration is the way we grow. Collaboration is the name of the game. And this set up an activity. When I filled this wheel of creativity, this empty template I created with different ideas, and then I had the fun of sharing with Rick when we held these meetings, the initial meeting, the later meetings, what came out of this. And so we had a lot of fun with follow-up conversations. He gave me great ideas to inspire me to try, other things. And I was really happy with the outcome, which is when I wanted to share that idea with others.
Now, you're talking about the wheel of creativity. When I hear wheel, I think of wheel of fortune or something, or wheel on a car, wheel on a wagon, whatever the case might be. And you were talking about cross disciplines. Now, are you, just as a few examples, are you talking about putting on that wheel the arts, the humanities, theater, music, whatever? I'm not filling in the wheel. I'm just asking the question. But is that what you're talking about? And then you start looking at how they can interface with one another. If we still use that term, that may be an old term, I'm not sure, passe term of interfacing, but interconnect and to share information and work together on dealing with projects, problems, challenges, and things like that. Is that what we're talking about?
That's what we're talking about. Absolutely, Bill. And for an example, I wanted all of the arts in our division: music, theater, art, and dance. We also had the photography discipline in our division. Radio, television, film technical program was located in our division. The graphics program, graphic communication, was located in our division. So we wanted to bring all of these groups, journalism as well, all of these groups together and have initial conversations, and even allow faculty members, department chairs, and coordinators that are so busy in all their daily day-to-day pursuits to have opportunities to have in-depth conversations with each other where these ideas would begin to bubble up. So we started first with a general meeting. I called it musical chairs. We had all of these folks in a room together from the different departments. And I said, let's just start by talking. When the music plays, your time is up. As much as you want to continue talking with that person, you have to move to the next person. And of course, many individuals in the room walked to their next station to talk to the next individual in their group, but some of them danced, I guess, reminiscent of their childhood when they played musical chairs. And so we had a big whiteboard where we just really generated lots and lots of ideas. The second meeting, I brought the wheel of creativity into play. I printed it, a large print version of it, and I filled in all of the different programs and ideas. I'd heard these individuals talk about how they wanted their programs to grow. What were the marketable skills that were important for their students? I filled those all in on this big wheel of creativity. And then we got some die, and we would roll the die like a game. It was a lot of fun. And then whichever two areas that this fell into, suddenly radio, television, film was talking to photography about a potential collaboration. And if they couldn't figure out how the two groups could collaborate as we continued to roll the die, you could say pass, just like a game, and we would come back to that. And by the end of the meeting, we had to, we almost had to ask them to leave because somebody else had to have the space because they were having such a good time talking with each other. And so that's the way I like to use this to generate ideas, to make people think, to say, I never thought of connecting what you already have in your program with mine and how that can create something even better for our students, especially with marketable skills that we want our students to leave our institution with.
Now, all of those disciplines you mentioned, music, dance, are all very important. But the one that really jumped out at me was journalism, since I'm involved in that to a large degree. Just as an example, how has journalism taken that experience of the wheel of creativity and built on it over the years? Now, this happened a few years ago, I'm assuming, when this was developed. And how have they done that? And what have they done with the other disciplines that would carry forward and would strengthen not only journalism, but also another division, be it arts or drama or whatever the case might be?
Well, journalism began working almost immediately with photography. They'd already been working with photography, but the coordinator of photography and the director of student publication affairs, they began to work together and create more opportunities for the photography students to be involved in our award-winning paper, The Collegian. More opportunities for students to take classes across the board. The radio, television, film coordinator also recently began working even more with journalism because now we have a podcasting room on our campus. We're currently, of course, shut down because of the pandemic. We are doing some podcasting remotely. And we have that on our campus for our students to use, for our administrators to use, for faculty to use. And so I can already see that 3 programs have crossed with each other in just the last several semesters, which is really exciting.
It certainly is. Now, once we get through the COVID-19 catastrophe, which it is, and we get back to face-to-face meetings and students return to campus, and you're on a very large campus, you've got several thousand students, do you not? You have what, 4 or 5 satellite campuses?
Actually, we have over 12,000 students on
Mhm.
the Northeast campus, and all of the campuses are very large. It's a very large community college system in the state of Texas. And yes, COVID has been a challenge, but I have been really proud of how on every campus in our entire district, how all of our faculty, staff, administration, students, how everyone would rise to this challenge. And we're still creating these connections that we started with the Wheel of Creativity. These things are still happening. This hasn't stopped because of COVID. We're just doing it in a different way.
Now, that was my next question, as a matter of fact, Linda. What do you plan to do once you get back into face-to-face meetings? Do you have a proposal in mind as far as bringing back the representatives from the various disciplines that you had at the outset, bringing new disciplines in? Where would you like to take this to the next level?
The next level I would like to take this to, when we're planning now for new programs and new ideas within all of the disciplines within our division. We're in the process of working on those plans actually this semester. When we're face to face, we're now interested, since we've used our Wheel of Creativity in our own division, the Communication Arts and Entertainment Division, which is humanities, we would now like to reach out to the other 3 divisions on our campus: science, science and math, social science, our technology division. We like to reach out to them and have more collaboration, starting with that same type of meeting where professors and coordinators and department chairs work together and think of ways that we could connect. I think there's so many rich possibilities out there. And really the fun of this Wheel of Creativity is once you do it once, and then you're in the mindset that you realize this can actually work to generate ideas, then you're brave enough to go talk to anybody and say, hey, I'm very interested in dance, collaborating with your business students about principles to run a successful dance studio or arts facility. So there's all sorts of conversations that start that way. So I think the Wheel of Creativity is really intended to start conversations and give people, like I said, it helps you to connect desperate ideas that you're thinking, oh, I'm not really sure how we could do that. That would be too difficult to cross paths. So we're going to reach out and we're going to do something specific with the business department and the dance department. Oh, that's a lot of meeting and that's a lot of time and I'm not sure. But when you start talking and you really connect human beings who are educators, then they will find a way to make a presentation work or a program work or a lecture work or even virtually conference work. They will find a way to do that. So I just have a lot of faith in our faculty, staff, and administrators that they are very open to anything that's good for students.
It's often said that everything, every profession, every discipline has international connections. And I think that's true. It doesn't matter if you're in import, export. It doesn't matter if you're into a business, you're into whatever it might be, public administration. There's always an international counterpart. Have you had an opportunity to bring in any international players or to take this internationally or to, and I know your campus obviously is, there's a lot going on internationally,
Yes.
undoubtedly with international students pre-COVID probably, but still you have international students. You've probably had outreach to various institutions in Mexico and other places, perhaps in Central America or in other parts of the world. But have you been able to branch this into bringing international players into it, or do you look down the road and say that's something we may look at later?
That's something that we really want to do. I know that our campus our college, Tarrant County College, does a lot of work in that area. But as far as our own division, I think our next step next year is, since we have these successful new programs going, we're going to reach out across all divisions on our campus. And then at that point, we would like to try to bring in, at this point, we do bring in nationally recognized speakers. But at the next point, we'd like to reach out on an international level. And I'd love for the faculty to make those decisions based on the types of connections that they would like to get. It would be so much fun. I'll speak as a dancer now. I thought in the back of my head is it would be so much fun virtually to share a piece of music and to have choreographers at Tarrant County College creating movement simultaneously with choreographers at a university overseas. I think that's the type of thing, with things that have changed in COVID, that's the type of things that are more available to us now. That's what we'd like to see happen down the road. That's the big picture.
Well, that would be fascinating to see that happen. Well, you're watching Global Connections Television, which is a privately funded, independently produced program. The opinions expressed on Global Connections are solely those of the moderator and his guest. We'd invite our viewers to go to our website at www.globalconnectionstelevision.com to view previous programs. Also, if you're involved with a PBS or community access television station, or perhaps an educational institution that has an intra-campus television hookup, or you're involved with a podcast or a radio station, or you just have a computer, you like our shows, you would like to share them, please feel free to do so. Global Connections Television is provided at no cost as a public service to help us better understand international issues and how they impact our lives. Today, we're taking a look at transformational learning concepts and a very interesting concept, the wheel of creativity. My guest is an expert on both of these. Dr. Linda Quinn is a dancer, actress, and dean at Tarrant County College Northeast campus, who enjoys the process of fusing different art forms to express human experiences, as well as developing transformational learning concepts. Linda, we're talking about the wheel of creativity, which is a fascinating concept. It really is. This is something now you're using it within the campus, and we were talking about what you'd like to do internationally, but has anyone else picked up on this wheel of creativity? You're, as I mentioned before, you're at a very large institution. I don't know how large the University of Texas is, but you may be rivaling it as far as student body membership. I'm not too sure, but
our institution is growing all the time.
I can see that. Yes. But are there any other institutions either in Texas or elsewhere in California, Kansas, Oklahoma, whatever, that might be interested in participating in this?
Basically, before we moved to remote delivery, we had a couple of opportunities where Rixmeyer connected some folks on our campus with just individuals from different campuses in different areas. I remember we had one room where we had working virtually, and we were in a conference room and we had a big screen, a video chat with instructor from English and others in the arts and areas. And we were talking about how we were trying different things in our program. So I shared the Wheel of Creativity template and concept with them, and they said they were going to take that back. And they were just from many different colleges across the United States, and play with it and see what they could do with it in their own areas. So this is just something that I just love to share and start the idea. And then I will also share that this is really an interesting concept for students, I've discovered as well. I taught a class some years ago when I first developed this and gave the students a blank template. And I said, you're in control now. I said, I want you to think of your schedule right now at Tarrant County College. Maybe you're thinking about your particular science class you're in right now, and then maybe you're in an English class. How would you take those two classes? And I said I would give them parameters about how I'd like for them to fill out the different diagram areas on the wheel of creativity. And I would say, for example, I need you to put in there, what types of activities could these two classes work together on in a cross-disciplinary fashion? Would you please write lists of those on the outside of the wheel as possibilities? And I talked to them about what it means to connect desperate ideas and how they can bring new ideas. But I said on the inside spots that you fill in on the wheel, I would like for you to research current cutting edge trends in technology and how could we use new technology, even if we don't have it yet in these classrooms, to create this cross-disciplinary project. And I remember between English and science, or dance and business, or art and history. And so they would connect two of their classes, and I wouldn't give them any help. They said, well, give me some ideas. I said, no, this is what critical thinking, creative thinking, and problem solving is about. And I need you to do the work. I need you to do the research. I need you to think about it. And I need you to come back with confidence and show me what you put together on this wheel, that you could actually hold a meeting with your two professors in these two very different disciplines and say, look at all these ideas we came up with. Pick some. How might we be able to do a cross-disciplinary projects between the students in an English class and the students in a history class? And it was interesting. Every single student turned it in. They all had really interesting ideas, and many of them said it was a fun exercise because I trusted them that they would do the work to come up with these new ideas. I said, they've got to be new ideas. And so they did. And so I was really happy with the way that turned out. Shared that with several other instructors, actually shared it with an instructor in an anatomy and physiology class that had a project about hospitals of the future. And she used that concept to help them come up with their idea of hospitals of the future. So that's the whole point of this, just really getting people to think about connections they never thought about before. It works for students, it works for faculty, it works for staff, works for administration.
And systemically speaking, all professions are professions in flux, that things are changing so rapidly today that sometimes we just can't keep up with them, or at least I can't for sure. But this is so extremely important. Well, then in the last 30 seconds we have, what do you see as the major challenge moving forward in the teaching profession? And as far as training teachers and working with students and dealing with the rapid transformations that are taking place in every society in the world.
I think we all know the importance that we've got to be there for their students. It's so important for everyone to have the opportunity for education, for a certificate, for a credential to enter the workforce, for an associate's, bachelor's degree, or graduate degree, whatever they need. We need to be there for them. And I think what COVID has taught us is there are different ways that we can connect with students to enhance their support and their success. So in the future, I'm seeing things like wonderful all virtual education, possibly blended hybrid classes where students are on campus one day a week with an instructor face-to-face and then do a lot of work on their own time, online. And then I think many instructors have told me that we're not online only instructors that primarily taught face-to-face when they were forced to move their instruction online during COVID. In this terrible time with all the tragedy, the one blessing that came out of it for them as educators was that their classes now are so rich in their online content. They have learned to connect with students that are busy and working and have different schedules and have children, and they feel that their support is so high for students. Their classrooms are still rigorous, but they're really there for their students, that if they have the opportunity, hopefully soon, to teach these classes face-to-face, they said their classes are going to be even stronger. And they were proud of that because they worked really, really hard to make those changes during COVID. And we're all very proud of those instructors at Tarrant County College.
Well, Dr. Linda Quinn, these transformations are taking place, and you're certainly playing a key role in helping people understand them and adapt to the future, to prepare for it, and to be actively integrated into it. And Tarrant County College is certainly it's a very important part of this whole system. And before I forget, I do want to mention that our viewers can go to your website at www.tccd.edu for more information. But again, It was a wonderful program, and I want to thank you for sharing the wheel of creativity. And thank you so much for a very interesting and a very informative program.
Thank you, Bill. It was my pleasure visiting with you.
Thank you. I'm Bill Miller. Thank you for joining us today on Global Connections Television.